Our day-to-day lives require a wide range of management skills. We manage our personal lives, we manage our family's needs, we manage our jobs, and we manage our money. And then we have to find a balance between working hard and having fun. So it's no wonder when it comes to chronic illness that there's a growing call to use a common sense approach, drawing on these skills that we use in other areas of our life to manage medication and lifestyle changes.
The essence of getting good management is addressing the process of management in everyday life. Managing chronic illnesses like diabetes, like asthma, even depression, is something that they have to do in their everyday worlds. The evidence is that 30 to 70% of patients are non-adherent. There are major reviews in JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, in the New England Journal, Lancet, and it just shows over and over again that management is suboptimal. Because it's suboptimal, people wind up in hospital. There's several ways of addressing that. The structure of the person's daily life may not include the medications being in a place where they can't be missed. When physicians see patients, the instructional process is generally with words. I want you to take your diabetes medication in the morning, let's say, or take your antihypertensive once a day. Now, in the morning and once a day are rather vague things. That's not the same as telling the individual, where do you keep your medicines? Oh, I keep them in the cabinet. Oh, well, where do you eat? Well, I eat in the kitchen. Well, are the medicines close to where you eat so that you can take them before you eat? Now, that's not very much more time consuming, but what you've done is taken the once a day instruction and put it in place in what is a behavioral sequence that's going to occur in this person's everyday life. That's a shift from just giving an instruction to giving the same instruction in the framework of the patient's life. And that's the common sense framework.
It makes a lot of sense, it costs nothing, and it could save a lot of suffering and maybe even lives. But the best thing about a common sense approach is that it allows individuals to tailor the way they manage their condition to suit their own lifestyle. Now, someone who takes a very novel approach to managing their chronic illness, in this case Crohn's disease, is Luke Escombe.
One of the things you sometimes have to deal with when you have chronic is surgeons trying to pimp you on the idea of stealing your colon for their own amusement. And when they do that, they replace it with a little bag that goes on the outside of your body to collect your food waste. It's not a pleasant thing to hear someone talk about, especially around dinner time, so I'm going to use a euphemism. Instead of calling it what it is, I'm going to call it an iPad. I was given lots of promotional literature about the iPad last time I was in hospital. I was given a display model and a user manual. The thing about the brochure they give you for the iPad is it's actually quite like the real brochure for the iPad. You get a good-looking man in his young 30s, he's walking along the beach, and he says, "I love my iPad. It's awesome. Now I can do my business on the go, on the beach, wherever I am, even in my local cafe." It's pretty much the story of me dealing with that illness and sort of getting through that time and wanting to get back into some sort of mainstream kind of existence, even if it's just on the fringes. To the Ayatollah of Iran, you seem like a very grumpy man. I've never once seen you smile. Have you lost touch with your inner child? Well, I'm flying overhead in a bomber plane. I had an album that I launched in 2008 and launched that and got very sick right after. For about a year and a half, I think I was sort of out of the music scene. And so I started writing a lot of stuff that was quite dark and stuff that I never intended to play to people, but it was stuff I felt like I needed to get out. And it was, I played it to a few people and they found it really funny, and I sort of started working it into the live show. If you need someone to give you loving, make you wake at the knees, I got an app for that. I got an app for that. If you need someone to tell you you're so beautiful, baby, I got an app for that too. I was in hospital for 11 nights last year, sharing a room with a man in his late 80s who had sleep apnea. That's when you involuntarily wake yourself up 300 times during the night because you think you're drowning in your sleep. And tied to that, he had a powerful case of self-loathing, so every time he woke up, he would loudly chastise himself. "No, you stupid old man. No, you bloody old fool." And he would make random remarks about different ethnic groups and listen to 2GB on a transistor radio. So it was like sharing a room with a racist wombat. He also had bowel cancer, and he was dying. Now, watching someone die is difficult. It's more difficult than watching So You Think You Can Dance. But if the person is a stranger, it's sometimes less horrible than watching Sunrise on Channel 7.